Just over a year ago, Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendel declared a COVID-19 state of emergency as the county prepared to deal with what would become arguably one of the largest public health emergencies it has ever seen. Joining us live to talk more about how far we've come in the past year and where we're going is Executive P.J. Wendel. Sir, thank you for your time today. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
First, I want to take some time to really reflect on the past year. It's really been a lot to handle. But first, let's talk about where we're going right now and what's happening now with the vaccination process, which I believe is underway here in Chautauqua County. Last I checked, there are now over 25% of residents vaccinated with at least one dose, with thousands expected to get the shot starting just this week. Where are we in that process?
Well, we're still moving ahead, Justin, and we just appreciate everybody's efforts to get out and get vaccinated. My team met this morning and, some people are saying, well, we want to hold out and we may have heard something from Moderna or Pfizer and we'd like to get that one shot from Johnson & Johnson. We don't know when that one shot will become available in large quantities to get out and vaccinate our population. So we're still urging everybody to please, sign up for the vaccination clinics that are out there now. We received a large dose allotment from the state of 2,000 to the county. There have been in other areas, our local FQHC, we have our first private practice who received vaccines. So in total, the county received 3,000 doses to be administered in the next 7 days. Also, we got word today that we will be receiving another 1,000 doses from an allotment that was sent to Allegheny County as they were not able to get all of them used in the timely manner. So in essence, the county will be taking itself 3,000 vaccines. Those hubs will be up shortly. And along with that, so really in total, 4,000 more people in Chautauqua County will be getting vaccinated. So we are moving along steadily now, and we're excited to see those numbers rise.
Yeah, and I know one of the big things is those eligible to get the vaccine. It seems like as we kind of move towards spring, I know President Biden has set the goal of May where he wants it to be available for everyone. Obviously, New York State's health department, if people don't know, are in charge of setting that metric for you and the local county health officials. I know you mentioned earlier before the show that you now are wanting the state to open it up. What specifically do you want to happen with the amount of who can get the shot?
Well, what we're finding today is, our most recent vaccines that are going to be the clinics that are taking place today and tomorrow at JCC and Fredonia. They didn't fill up immediately like we have in other instances where in a matter of minutes you filled up over 1,000 spots. So it did take a little bit longer. And having said that, we're now people with comorbidities, and out of the blue, we found out that we've been added 50 years and over. So I guess I should be happy that I met that metric now of being 50 and qualified. But one of the positions we talked about in our team was to make it available for everyone, because am I qualified, or the private practices, are they're coming online? Is it 50 and comorbidities? Well, no, it's comorbidities of anybody for any age. Instead of the confusion of who is eligible and who's not eligible, we talked today from our team, my health team from COVID-19, that opened it up for everybody eligible, 18 years of age and over. Sign up, we'll get people vaccinated and move out. There are some that are still trying to get those vaccines, and we are working diligently to get out to those our homebound populations, those with disabilities we're trying to get to, as well as long as our older population. So we've had a great system with our local FQHC. Our Office for the Aging has been huge. The health department, so many partners in this effort have been really great to work with, and we are working, and we will continue pushing the vaccine effort to get all of our residents here vaccinated, and hopefully opening to what we would consider normal.
Yeah, and certainly there is that hope where a lot of people think, and believe, and I know it's the really the hope. That's what it comes down to, is that once we get vaccinated, we can reopen fully I know some already have. And with this push to get the state to open up the vaccination eligibility, have you had any traction yet with that? Have you? I know you've talked with Lieutenant Governor Hochul before, trying to get directives to the governor and to the health department to make some change.
Well, Justin, I guess I will give you the exclusive. This is the first time we mention it. I talked to my team this morning before I came on this show and asked if that was available for me to mention, and we agreed to it. So I have not brought it to the Lieutenant Governor's attention yet, but I will. In our hub meetings that we have, and also in our control room. It just, as the health departments have said right along, we have been asking for the ability, and I say the local health departments or the LHDs, the ability to vaccinate people. We have plans. They have plans. Everything's in motion. Let that plan be in full effect. The rollout or the plan that a county has, for example, what is your throughput? Well, throughput isn't 50 and above, with comorbidities, without comorbidities. That throughput hasn't been calculated with all these restrictions the state has put on the vaccination from the health departments. The throughput is, and the plan is for everyone to be eligible. So if you want those plans to work, for example, Allegheny was given a large dose of the vaccine, but they weren't able to get it out. Why? Because it's a finite group of people that they have to vaccinate. If they were open for everybody in Allegheny County, I'm sure they wouldn't have any problem filling those slots. But again, what we're seeing, especially in Allegheny, that, because of the restrictions, even now, as things have opened up, there still are restrictions, and it is hampering the efforts in many communities. So, and we just looked at it as a quick, our sites usually fill up in minutes. This one took, several hours to fill, and there's still a few spots available. So having said that, we said, okay, now are we hitting a saturation point? Are we at a point where right now we have a lot of people in these age groups vaccinated? Let's get the whole population eligible. It's going to happen at some point. Why don't we start now and get a plan as the vaccination rolls out?
Yeah, and with more people vaccinated, we've seen the state has been lifting restrictions on various venues. I know bars and restaurants still have that curfew in place, but some lawmakers pushing for that to be axed as well. There's still a lot more to be done, I'm sure, on the efforts of reopening and rebounding Chautauqua County. What are you looking to do now, once we get past vaccinations and we head into spring, head into summer? I'm sure vaccine's still going to be a big topic, but a lot of people are ready to return back to life as it was.
Correct. And, what we're making sure is that we do this in a safe manner. We're looking at the science, we're looking at the data, making sure that we open up. And once we do, business in Chautauqua County is still going on. Our IDA has been working feverishly behind the scenes. We have job openings throughout Chautauqua County. We have people that are looking for jobs. We need to get those connections made. We need to get people back employed. We need to get things moving here in Chautauqua County. We can't rely on, the stimulus package or an unemployment bonus. We need to get back to work here in Chautauqua County, and we need to make those efforts available to all of our residents. And our IDA has been working feverishly from the very beginning throughout COVID. I just had a talk yesterday. They're continuing their efforts, and we're going to be moving right along and getting back to the business of reopening our county, making our county affordable for residents, and getting involved with moving into the next phase of development here in Chautauqua County.
Last week, I wanted to touch on this. We looked back at the early actions within COVID-19's pandemic, and really that mass response, which wasn't just here but worldwide. It included the creation of your special task force to try to get ahead of what was to come. Looking back on it now, what has it been like for you and others who have worked what seems like nonstop now to try to navigate this year?
Well, we formed a lot of great friendships. We formed a lot of, working capability. A lot of connections made throughout New York State, in the midst of this, when Pennsylvania was starting to creep up in the number of positive cases. I created the Border County Coalition with, Rockland County, Orange County. So a lot of connections statewide with those counties that border Pennsylvania. And we're still looking at those. The governor mentioned today in his briefing, about, watching our borders. And that's really unique. We are the only county in New York that borders Pennsylvania on two sides. So it brings a unique paradigm to Chautauqua County as we move forward. Our task force itself has been meeting. We just decided today that we will go down to 2 meetings a week, as we've been at 3 now for quite a while as things roll out. But, with technology, we text, we call, as soon as anything pops up and arises. My financial team that I convened early on is still continuing to meet. And, that one will continue indefinitely to make sure that we're watching, because as the federal money, we're looking at those monies to be utilized in the next 2 years. I think actually almost 3 when you look at, to be used by the end of 2024. So that team will be in place for quite a while, guiding us through the use of that funding as well. So, yeah, we've created a lot of great friendships, a lot of working relationships, but we've also found ways to have the county work more efficiently, more effectively. We're looking at things that we could change in the future, and those are just the possibilities that we see now as a result of COVID. So we're excited to put those things to the test, to get back to working in the county and getting our county businesses open. But, really looking as to what opportunities has COVID provided us. And I think that's, turning a positive into a negative, a negative into a positive, excuse me. And, and looking at what we've been dealt with the last year and coming out of this with a lot of growth, a lot of opportunity, and a lot of new ways of doing business and new ways of thinking in many aspects.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people feeling that. I know last week, actually at this time, we ran a look back package, and I went through and looked through our video of that Sunday night press conference where you, Christine Schuyler, and several others declared that state of emergency. And in there, you talked about that family unit coming together. And it seems like it went beyond just that. I think our community itself really has come together, and we value our relationships that maybe we weren't able to have in person because of COVID and the restrictions. The final question, and we don't have a ton of time left, but I want to ask it. It's a difficult one. I'm sure we all wish we really had a crystal ball to foresee what was coming in the last year. For you, what do you think could have been done differently?
Justin, I people have asked that right along. I don't know if we could have done anything different. Because it did not hit us like it hit other areas. We were able to plan. We were able to prepare. Did we make mistakes? Certainly, but nothing that we could go back and say, I wouldn't have done it that way. We just looked and we could have done this a little better. We could have maybe tweaked this, but, we are very confident in what we have done across the board. We saw little upticks. We got on it. We looked at our funding. We watched our budget. I'm listening to counties now, heavily relying on that federal stimulus to bridge $40 million gaps in budgets. We don't have that. Our budget came in ahead amidst an 8-week shutdown because we made those decisions early. So, looking back, we feel confident in what we have done. I'm sure critics will always find something that could have been done better. But, whether it be my finance team, involving the legislature and their leadership, our COVID-19 health team, we feel confident that we've done a really good job, and we wouldn't look back and say we would have done things differently. I wish maybe, I don't know. I think that's really it. We feel confident in our decisions and how we've done things.
Yeah, and everybody can play armchair quarterback. I mean, but when you're actually in there trying to make decisions, in many cases, some very difficult ones, what has happened, and as you mentioned, I think moving forward, that's a lot of people looking towards the future. That's what they want at this point. Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendel joining us on the show today, sir. Thank you for your time as always. We appreciate the insight and the exclusive that you're calling on New York State to open up that eligibility to everyone.
Certainly. Thank you, Justin. Thanks for all you guys have done. You've covered this event remarkably, and hats off to you guys as well.
Well, we appreciate that.